with a whisk and can you put it in your mouth? I get recognised in the street for it. Instead of cutlery coming with my meal, they serve 2 whisks.
Why did you put the whisk in your mouth? If you don't know, Come Dine With Me is a TV show in the UK on Channel 4 in which people go around each other's house, cook each other food, and then they score each other on that food. Kev Riley was a contestant on Come Dine With Me in 2012, and a few years later became very popular on the internet because of this clip here.
Very fancy.
See what that tastes like.
Verdict?
Perfect.
Smashing.
I love that video, and I wanted to ask Kev a little bit about it, so I reached out to him and he was happy to sit down and have a chat. So I hope you enjoyed the video.
Hi, pal.
Hey, how you doing? You alright? Hi,
I don't know
Kev.
if you're on mute.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now, man.
Brilliant. Yeah, thanks for joining me, Kev.
No problem.
Why did you put the whisk in your mouth?
You know what? Loads of people ask me that, and I don't suppose I know the answer. It was just something I did at the time to make the girl who was on Come Down With Me, the producer. She, built up a bit of a banter relationship with her over the course of the time. She could spend quite a lot of time at your house and at the other houses and at all the filming locations. It was just something I did to make her laugh, really. And I knew at the time that I did it, that because they all absolutely, wet themselves laughing, I thought, that's definitely going to be in the show. And then when it was on, it wasn't sort of something that everyone was talking about, but it was a couple of years later, the first time it got shared. And then a couple of years after that, and then it seems like it never dies. It's a strange thing. It's like, just when I think, I think it's done now, I don't think anyone's shared it for a bit, then all of a sudden Lindt, the chocolate company, will have shared it, or Lee Evans shared it once, and then there's some bloke goes in the Capitol building in Washington that looks like me. It could have been me. So it's just, it gets regurgitated. It seems whatever the news is at the time, it gets applied to that and reshared. I suppose the disappointing thing from my point of view, from a selfish point of view, is I've made no money out of it whatsoever. And it's had over 100 million views on YouTube across different clips. And then there's people like who sold T-shirts, merchandise. I've seen that. People have sent me WhatsApp messages where their missus has bought them a Valentine's card with it on, and it's gone crazy. But I've never made a penny out of it. I don't think Channel 4 have really, or the Come Down. It's just been a meme that's circulated really.
Yeah, because it was one of the earlier seasons of Come Dine With Me, right? It was I watched it recently, and do you remember what year it was? It was an earlier season, I know.
Well, it was 2012. I know that because it was my daughter was born that year, so
right.
She was a baby, and now she watches the meme like everybody else. It's weird.
Yeah, so I guess at the time when, like you say, you were just you just done it to make the team in your kitchen laugh, and you don't think in your mind that it's going to go viral or anything. Maybe if someone was to do that now, they're probably thinking in the back of their mind, I've got a good little clip here that might go viral. But in 2012, that definitely wasn't something that was on your mind.
No, definitely not. And then there's other clips that that you think from that. I mean, the other guy, I know one of the lads who was on Come Down With Me. And I know I know all of them that were on it, and they wouldn't get. I get recognised in the street for it. I get like, you're the whisk guy, aren't you? Went for a meal in Leicester once, and instead of cutlery coming with my meal, they served 2 whisks. And then I get people coming up to me at weddings with a whisk and can you put it in your mouth? And then I'll get people messaging me saying, can you do video message for my mate's birthday with a whisk in your gob? So it's crazy.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy. How often is it that you think you get recognised in the street? I know you said it comes in waves, like the popularity of the video. So I imagine when you see it get shared a lot, you probably maybe get recognised a little bit more often than normal.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a lockdown haircut at the minute, so that helps with not. But I would say it's sporadic, recognised in the street. In Burnley, where I live, it's obviously more often because people know. It's helped with certain things in work life. People think, oh well, that guy who was off Come Down With Me with a whisk in his gob, he does it. Things like that. So it's helped in that sense. I'd say locally, every day recognised. Non-locally, I mean, we were on a flight to Benidorm, me and my mates, and someone come up and said, "Excuse me, can I just ask you a question? Are you the guy I've come?" So it does happen sporadically.
It's a good icebreaker, isn't it? Like, especially if someone, if you're meeting some new people, there's a higher chance that they might have seen that clip, even if they don't recognise it. As soon as someone mentions it, most people have seen that clip.
Yeah, and I always think who's the most famous person that's watched it. I think things like that, because one of the videos had 60 odd million views on it. I can't remember who'd shared it. It was someone with a big Twitter following. It had 60 odd million views, and I thought that's like the population of England. Do you know what I mean? It's a crazy thing. I always think, who's seen it, who's watched it that I would know, Obviously, Lee Evans shared it. That was a busy day, because my wife obviously gets loads of people texting us saying, "Oh, your husband's been shared again." Lad Bible seem to share it a lot, although certain people, when they share it, Lad Bible being one of them, and the comments below are usually horrific, where I don't look at them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it would depend what it depends who shared it. Sometimes I'll have a laugh and read the comments. Sometimes, I've read one where, I know this guy, went to school with him. I click on the picture. I'm like, no, you didn't. But then some of them are horrific. It'd be like, you don't want this guy looking after your children, and So
yeah, that's just the internet for you, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got to be careful. But most people, I'll be honest, it's fun, friendly banter.
Yeah, I think most people know that that you would have done that as a joke, that you would have done that for banter, and I've seen people say, the producers probably made him do it, or they probably told him do something funny, and then that's what he came up with, and then obviously it's that that's not what happened, but it was that is not how you put a whiskey. That's not how you test your food every day, is it?
No, it's not. It's not something I've done. Well, I have done it since, because of people asking me to recreate it. I got somebody asked me if I'd recreate it with a mask on, because make it a COVID version type thing. I've thought of all sorts, but the only time I've recreated it is when I've been asked to recreate it.
Have you thought about setting up one of those, that website Cameo, where you can pay a celebrity to say a little phrase? You could charge just a couple quid, even if it's only like a $5 or something. You say a couple lines, put the whiskey in your mouth, say perfect.
Yeah, maybe I should do that. I mean, a girl messaged me last night actually saying, my friend's a big fan. We've even got your face on a T-shirt, and I'm thinking, well, I've earned out off that. Would you do her a happy birthday video? And I felt like I just replied saying I would do, and I'll probably do it this evening or whatever. But I feel like saying, can you donate 10 quid to charity or whatever for doing it? I feel like something should be, because I'm getting that more and more now. Can you do that? So I think when I've seen that Cameo, and when I look at it, I think, it probably would be the type of thing that people would do for a laugh.
Oh yeah, definitely. There's I've seen people on there that I don't recognise at all, and when you look them up, they're practically nobody. If you've got hundreds of millions of views, pretty much everyone. I would be surprised if less than 80% of the UK have seen that video. It's huge.
I always wonder. There's another guy off Come Down With Me, who does he's an older guy, and he does the Sad Little Life.
Yeah.
Dear Lord, what a sad little life, Jane.
I always feel like I'd love to meet him, because whenever I see merchandise with it on, I see his as well, and I think, I wonder if he gets the same. He definitely will, won't he? He'll get the same. I'd like to. It'd be funny to go for. I always said to a mate of mine. It'd be good if I went for a meal with him. Imagine the looks we'd get in a restaurant.
Yeah, my so he's another one. I saw there's a like you say, there's a few lists, and it will say the top 10 Come Dine With Me moments, and the top 2 is usually you two who are there, and then there's this poor woman who tripped over crossing the road or something. But I've tried to track him down. I've tried to find him, but I don't think he wants to be contacted.
No, he's a bit less out there than me. I mean, I do mobile DJing at weekends and stuff, so I think my social media's out there. But it's the yes, I suppose with that, he probably said it, and it's took off without him wanting to or knowing. It's similar to mine, really, but it was in the top 10 iconic moments of the decade.
Oh wow!
And it was above a goal that England had scored in the World Cup semi-final. I was like, it's crazy to think, really. One little 6-second clip, not changed my life, I wouldn't say, but it certainly has it's had an impact just because of the amount of times it's been viewed and the amount of times that I end up talking about it.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, it doesn't, just because it hasn't changed your life completely, it doesn't mean it hasn't. It has had an impact, because, like you say, people recognise you in the street, and I'm sure it is a good little icebreaker, like you say, for work purposes.
It is. I mean, I went for a job interview a couple of years ago, and the guy was like, "I feel like I know you from somewhere," and I was like, "I don't want to mention this at this point." You know what I mean? Maybe when, and then he said, "Have you been on telly for something?" And I was like, "Oh, I was on Come Dine With Me." And then he went, "That's it, you're the Whisk guy." And I'm like, so it's been certainly an icebreaker. And then you end up telling the same story over and over again, because people Come Dine With Me. I'd never watched the program before I'd been on it, but it has a sort of cult following, and people, I've had people come up to me, no word of a lie, saying, "You're Series 9, Episode 46, contestant number whatever," and I'm like, "Oh, am I? I didn't know that." But so it does have a cult following, Come Dine With Me, and it's on all over the world. So a friend of mine emigrated to Australia, and she saw the episode and was like, "Wow, I went to school with that guy." So it's got a global reach.
Yeah, it was nowhere near as popular when you went on it. Like I said, you was in one of the earlier seasons. What's the actual experience of being on the show like, apart from the whole viral clip, the actual Come Dine With Me experience? How did you find that?
Something I'm glad I've done. Something to tell your kids when you're older. I don't think there'll ever be a time, unless I commit a major crime or something, that there'll be a TV crew following me around for a week. But it's, we sort of had, it takes over your life for the full week. The wife had just had Millie, my daughter, so she had to move to her dad's, and while they were filming, and then, just coming home from work every day, and then literally going out I think people think that you're having a meal, but really you're having your starters at like 5 o'clock, and you're not having your dessert till like 11 o'clock at night. It's a long process for the filming. By the time you're ready for it finishing by the end of the week, really. I remember opening Sally's menu and it was fish and chips. I thought, yeah, I'm just ready to eat a normal fish and chips. I didn't know at the time it was like fancy fish and chips, but it was just sort of like at the end of that week you think, I've had enough of it now. But then when it's finished, you think, oh, kind of miss, the experience. It was certainly a good thing to do.
Yeah, and when I was watching your episode, you said a couple times that you'd essentially never really cooked before, and you sort of like make a little joke saying that you had to learn how to turn the oven on and stuff. How true was that, or how exaggerated was that?
Yeah, it wasn't really a joke. No, I mean I don't cook a lot. I've lost quite a bit of weight now, but I got to the stage where I was just doing loads of takeaways, and that's why and my pal put my name down to come down with me. He did it as a joke. So when they rang me up, I was like, "Is this for real?" It was a private number, and then I realised it was serious, and I said, "Listen, I can't cook." And there was a girl who was sort of well known in the local area for doing dinner parties, and she said, "I can teach you a meal." So I like literally went to her house. She taught me the meal, and then just practiced it loads and loads of times. My family and friends were sick of eating it by the end of all the start of me going on Come Down Me, and then I sort of pulled it off that one night. It went well, did the meal, but then I've never had it again since, and probably cooked on Valentine's Day maybe 3 times out of 8 years, and that's certainly it. My wife's a good cook, but yeah, I don't do any.
Yeah, you're not too different from me in that sense. I'm not the best cook in the world. If there was one last thing that you had to let people know, if there was one last message, what would that thing be? What's the one message you'd like people to hear?
I suppose just that there is a person behind the meme, if you will, and that I'm not some kind of weirdo that goes around putting random things in my mouth. It was something I did for a laugh. That does create seems to I don't really understand it, but it seems to create a lot of attention and laughter in people's lives and stuff. But the genuine thing is, I'm just a normal 40-year-old guy who has 3 kids and a wife and lives a fairly normal standard life, that just did something that just went a bit crazy for 6 seconds.
Can I give you a kiss?
No, carry on.
Can I?
No, definitely not. Carry on.